that was part of the terror. That was the part of the terror that I was choking on.
The Washington Attorney General's office is taking a closer look at one of Spokane's most high-profile death investigations. Dr. John Marshall turned up dead in the Spokane River 4 years ago, and his wife says there are still more questions than answers about what happened.
A Pierce County woman who was accused of posing as a baby photographer and plotting to steal a newborn has pleaded not guilty in court today.
Plus, we're taking a look at a one-of-a-kind electric car designed right here in Spokane. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Whitney Ward.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Hanrahan. The woman accused of drugging a Washington mom and plotting to steal her baby pleaded not guilty today. Juliet Parker was charged with assault and attempted kidnapping. A Pierce County judge set her bail at $150,000. She is back in jail after she was released earlier this week. Parker is not allowed any contact with her teenage daughter. Parker, who has ties to Texas and Colorado, was also restricted to local travel. Tonight we are hearing from the first time from that Washington mom who says she was drugged.
Will I be able to take a shower knowing that she could bail out and come to my house? No. Will I sleep content? No. Just because she's behind bars, that doesn't give me a peace of mind. She still knows where I live at. She still knows my children.
Prosecutors say Parker posed as a professional photographer offering free photo shoots to expand her portfolio. The mom says she invited Parker to her home when Parker drugged her with a cupcake in an attempt to steal her baby. Investigators claim she didn't go out this alone either, saying her 16-year-old daughter was with her on the photo shoot. That teen, who we are not identifying right now, remains in a juvenile justice facility awaiting arraignment.
We want change! We want change!
The fiance of one of two Burien Catholic school teachers allegedly fired for being gay is now disputing the school's version of events. People filled the streets in front of Kennedy Catholic School this afternoon in protest. Now, the school claims that both English teacher Paul Danforth and soccer coach Michelle Beatty voluntarily resigned, but they say no reason was given. Now, both had recently become engaged and they were seen packing up over the weekend outside the school.
They taught us about loyalty, about building our faith, and about acceptance. So who are we now if not to defend God's message of love? Who is it to decide which laws the Archdiocese must follow and which ones can be excused?
The Archdiocese of Seattle has not commented on this issue, although many Catholic schools around the country do have morality clauses in their contracts which require teachers to follow the teachings of the church. Both teachers have now hired an attorney. In this case, though, it's unclear what type of legal action, if any, they will take. A North Spokane sushi restaurant is back open today after a viral video showed improper food handling. QQ Sushi says it did pass its most recent health inspection and is reopening now with new management and new staff. The restaurant also renovated its kitchen with new appliances, utensils, and storage containers. QQ Sushi voluntarily closed last week after a video was posted on Facebook showing a worker preparing food on the floor and then storing it under a shelf. Since the video, the health district did meet with new staff to review proper food safety and handling practices.
All right, to weather now. It is starting to feel kind of like spring around the inland Northwest. My goodness.
I know, don't you love it? Of course, we'd love it if the sunshine would stick around at least. We're going to check in with meteorologist Tom Sherry to give us an answer, Tom.
Well, you're going to love Wednesday then because the sun is going to stick around, but because of the clear skies at night, it is going to get very, very cold. Look at this. Pretty outside, isn't it? 35 degrees right now. By the way, if you're keeping score at home, our sunset tonight was at about 5:17. And again, it's already just a few degrees above freezing, and it's going to get much colder. I'm looking for an overnight low of 19. Some valleys will get some freezing fog that will stick to the roadway. Could make for some icy conditions early on in the morning. Be aware of that. And then if we burn off the fog and low clouds like we anticipate, we should see mostly sunny skies and a daytime high of 40. We'll see increasing clouds on Friday. That will last through the weekend. By Saturday night, we could get rain developing and then look for a chance of rain or even a few wet snow showers early Sunday morning. We'll look for daytime highs both days over the weekend in the upper 40s. I'll check the rest of your forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you. Well, it's a case that many thought might go unsolved forever. But now the Washington Attorney General's office is looking into the death investigation of Dr. John Marshall. He was a respected VA surgeon, a husband, and father of two who suddenly turned up dead in the Spokane River 4 years ago. His wife has been pushing for an outside review of this case for years. And now, for the first time, she's opening up about rumors of her husband's affair and what she calls unanswered questions in the police investigation.
It started out like any other day in the life of Dr. John Marshall, chief of surgery at Spokane's VA hospital. He woke up early and went to the downtown YWCA to work out. It was 5:30 a.m. on a Monday. This surveillance video shows Marshall putting his items in a cubby, then walking out a side door onto North Monroe to go for a run, as witnesses say he often did. It ended up being the last time Marshall was seen alive. He never showed up for his full slate of surgeries at the VA. His cell phone and car still sat right where he left them at the Y. For the next 28 hours, Spokane police tried to retrace his steps, but came up empty until 9:30 the next morning.
Are you still observing from the bridge?
Marshall's body had been spotted on the banks of the Spokane River just past the Monroe Street Bridge.
Our major crimes investigators have responded to the scene.
What was a missing person case was now a death investigation.
My entire life had just been shattered, absolutely shattered.
Dr. Susan Marshall, John's wife and a former surgeon herself, says at first she was simply in shock.
I'm not the same person that I was.
At first, police noted she was extremely calm when they initially talked to her, mentioning she'd made repeated comments about John being kidnapped or murdered and probably being in the river or the trunk of a car. And according to their reports, they did consider the possibility that Susan was involved. They noted less than 2 weeks after Marshall's death, Susan emailed detectives saying she couldn't file life insurance policies to pay off mortgages without a cause of death, asking if they could call it a drowning by accident. The detective responded saying the medical examiner would make that final determination, and records show they eventually decided Susan had not been involved in John's death.
I was in terror and not knowing what happened to my husband, if we were safe. I cannot even relate the terror and the shock that we were going through.
In the meantime, questions and rumors were starting to surface about a different death investigation just 1 week prior. Brenda Thurman was shot and killed by her husband, Dwayne, a reserve deputy in Lincoln County. He told police he accidentally shot his wife in the heart as he was cleaning her gun. He was eventually convicted, though, of second-degree manslaughter and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Susan now believes Brenda and John were connected.
She was killed on Monday. On Wednesday, John told me that he had a viewing to go to. And I grilled him about it. I said, "Do you know Brenda Thurman?" And he wouldn't look at me. And he said no. And I said, "Why the hell would you go to the viewing of someone you don't know?" And he said, "It's